My name is Omolola Ajibola, and this is my contribution to Black History Month. Welcome to Black Historic Moments, where we go about talking to successful Black people to ask them about moments in their life when being Black mattered and how it impacted them. Without further ado, let's get into the story.
Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Martin Luther King. This is the story of my Black historic moment. My name is Modupe Ajibola, and I'm looking forward to telling this story, as I hope you're looking forward to enjoying it. It all happened for me in the year 2002. It was a beautiful year. I was graduating from a university called Texas A&M University in College Station. It's a beautiful campus, great times. I'm in my final year. Boom, it all happens. So a cartoonist for the school battalion writes an article that was very tasteless about a Black mother and child. The stereotypes were heavy with the big lips, big physique of the mother, and so on and so forth. Very tasteless. And then subsequently, the mother's beating the child, saying you don't want to end up as an airport security, and so on and so forth. The goal of the cartoon was just to piss people off. Everyone could agree. But the cartoonist refused to apologize, in fact, doubling down, saying, I just wanted people to know that if you don't go to school and study, you could end up as the airport security, as though airport security job itself was a negative job. So you can imagine the frustration of everybody on campus, especially the Black students. When this cartoon came out, I figured this student was, not only was this student ignorant to put such a silly cartoon, but was also perhaps racist. But I don't think his racism was as such that he wanted to set the whole school on fire. He probably just wanted to make a point that was personal to him, and did so on a platform that misrepresented everybody else around him, everybody else on the campus, and what they were trying to do. Because I didn't think the school was racist. I thought they had individuals on the campuses that were racist, like any other place. But those individuals did not account for majority of the campus. In fact, there was always people proactively trying to bridge gaps between the blacks, the whites, the Hispanics, and the different groups. But those people's work were undermined by everybody else that wanted to stay in their comfort zone. So here is where my journey began. I realized that for me, the issue I had was not between blacks and whites, because I didn't see whites as interesting. I'll be honest. They were not. White folks then to me were just very matter of fact, they just went about their business. However, I found African Americans extremely interesting and colorful and beautiful, and not to say whites were not, they were also beautiful, but the experience of the African Americans and what I experienced on that campus was so beautiful that I wanted to be more engaged with them and understand what they were about. And it turned out that there was this friction between them and the Africans because of misunderstandings, and because of what I said initially, which was ignorance and lack of understanding. But that same problem was what was driving the ignorance of certain the white communities and the African American community. So I saw an opportunity. I saw an opportunity to bring us together, but not in the way most people thought about. Because before then, what we will do is we'll go to this forums. So we used to have all these forums, and then in the forums we end up cursing each other out thoroughly, so that by the time the forum is over, we now hate each other a little more than we came in. This is why you guys come from Africa saying all this smack about us. You think we don't know what you're saying? You think we don't know that you guys hate us? You think we don't know that you guys are out here thinking you're better than us? And then the Africans are like, yes, I know that you think I'm better than you, but is that why you make fun of my accent? Is that not why you make fun of me all the time? Is that why you guys think that we're booty scratchers in Africa? You think that we're too back and forth we go. And I always laughed. Now, for me, I was coming to this forums because I had friends on both sides. I'm African, but I had friends on both sides, and I'll be laughing because I even laugh from some of our friends. I'm like, what are we doing here? Are we trying to get along, or are we just trying to, feature some of our best insults? It seemed like that's what we were doing at the time. So anyway, when all that was over, I thought to myself, I said, what we need the most is not the forum where we talk about our grievances, but a place where we can all come and have a purpose that we share together. I wanted us to share a purpose together. And to that point, I started to write a play. So I wrote a play, and then I went to talk to a lady that was running the International Student Association. Her name will be in the credits, by the way. So she tells me that I should go ahead and write this play and put it into a book. And I said, no, I want to produce it. And she's like, that's going to be a lot of work. I said, yeah, I know, but I don't know how to go about it, blah, blah, blah. So this is the importance of you always talking to people about what you're thinking, what you're dreaming, especially people that, having mentors. I've always had mentors and counselors and so on and so forth. And by the way, you should have them in all walks of life, which I did. And the beauty of that is that they will tell you, they will not let your dream die in front of you. They would help push and propel you in the direction of your dreams. And most times they will contribute to it if they really care about you. So this lady told me, hey, I'm going to donate $500 to this project of yours if you produce it as a Broadway play, like you said you want to do. I said, are you serious? You're going to do that? That began the process of me writing proposal. And after I did that, she told me, well, go to other departments and see if they'll give you money. So I wrote a proposal riveted with typos, by the way. There were just all kinds of typos, which proves to you that I'm an engineering student. I didn't say I was an English student. And she helped me edit the typos and so on and so forth, and I was so excited, and she told me, she also helped me with editing the script. I got some other friends of mine to help me read the scripts, and everybody loved it. Every time someone read the script, it was a vindication that we needed to produce this project, because they will come back and say, this is powerful. So I took the script, I printed it all out, and I started practicing the whole script in my head, because I needed to be able to tell the story of what the script was about and why it mattered for us to produce it this time, this period in the history of the university. I needed to make that happen. So I did all that. I was prepared, I was excited, and now I had to raise money. So I go to all these faculties, the science, faculty of engineering, architecture, and all the different departments. And you see them in the credits, by the way, of the play. I go to these departments and I try to I send them proposals. Nobody answers me. So I said, I'm going to schedule appointments to go sit down and meet with them. I'm a student, by the way. Now, I'm telling you all the story because this story is a catalyst. We're 25 years away from that time now, or how many years? No, not 25, 20 years away from that time now. And I run my own company. But everything I learned during this period of my life was actually what enabled me to eventually become an entrepreneur, pursue my dreams in every capacity that I ever dreamt of it. And I'll explain how all that connects together in this so-called Black History, My History, Black History Month. especially in this era of my life. Anyway, so I'm there. I go to the Department of Agriculture, and I scheduled a meeting to meet with them. And I remember then they made me sit down till the end of the day. I'm sitting down in the waiting room. I'm almost discouraged because I'm like, okay, they don't want to see me. It's late at night. It's 6 o'clock. I gotta go home. Right when I stand up to leave, it's like, oh, he'll see you now. I said, oh, okay. So I go in there and I said, and the man's like, okay, what is it you want to see me about? I said, well, I sent a proposal about the play that I wanted to raise money to produce a Broadway play because this time on this campus is very tenuous. There's racial tension, and I think this play would help relieve some of that racial tension by bringing us all together. And the man said, and you suppose you're going to do that? I said, I want to try. And he's like, okay, what is this play about? And how much do you want? I said, well, I raised $500 from the international student organization there, and I want to see how much you can donate. He's like, okay, what is the play about? So I had this boombox then that had a soundtrack that I'll carry around like a Walkman type thing, and I'll play it, and it had a soundtrack. I was so naive to realize how stupid this is in retrospect. You know, if I was to do this now, it would be insane to me, somebody doing this. So I had this, imagine having this record player with a soundtrack from Braveheart, Lion, all these great soundtracks that I'd rehearsed the play to, and I'll press play, and then I'll start reciting the play, telling the story, and I'll start the story, and I'll get to like 1 minute into the story, and I'll stop. I'll say, you know what? Maybe this was a bad idea. I can stop now. And they were like, no, carry on. Let's carry on. I'm listening. And then I'll go 5 minutes later, I'll stop it again and say, yeah, I do realize you have places to be, so maybe we should just get to the end of it. No, carry on. Do you believe this? And this is true story. Every department I went to made me complete the whole story. They would never stop me. Every time I gave them a chance to stop, they'll make me complete the whole story. And at the end of the story, it was the same thing from everywhere. They're like, you know what? How much did you say you needed? It was $500. They're like, okay, how much did this other department give you? I'm like, $500. Like, well, you know what? I'll give you $1,000. How much did this other department? $1,000. I'll give you $2,000. It kept going like that from department to department. They were competing with each other to be a contributor to this project because they enjoyed the story so much, and it was compelling to them to believe that this was a story that needed to be told. Some of them compared it to a Bible story. Some of them compared it to, so it was exciting. So now I'm getting all this money funded into our organization for my play, and I'm excited. But the challenge now is I gotta now produce the darn play. How am I going to do that? So I wasn't sure how I was going to do that, but I did know one thing students never walked away from was free pizza. Free pizza mattered to everybody on campus. They were not going to play with it. It was not a matter of if when it came to pizza, it was a matter of when we get pizza. So I said to myself, I'm going to set up a schedule that allowed everybody to come eat at a certain time of the day, and through that I'm going to trap them. It was a mousetrap. I'm going to get everybody in here and tell them what we're doing and why we're doing it. So I went to all the fraternities and all the different friends of mine in different organizations and told them, hey, I got free food, I got free pizza at the gym. You guys just need to show up and eat it. The first round is free. It's all me. The second round, you're going to have to do something for me to keep eating. So they all showed up, and I unveiled the news to them. And these are all people that didn't like each other, by the way. A lot of the fraternities didn't care for certain fraternities. A lot of the Africans didn't care, especially for the Americans. And they see everybody in the same place eating food. And then I made an announcement. I told them, hey guys, in my hand here is a script of a play about you and I, a play about us. And we're going to produce this play for this university, and they have given us money to do so. We have raised quite a bit of money, enough to be well fed for the next few weeks. So if you're with me, you can guarantee you will never starve again, at least until this play is produced. And everybody got excited. People laughed, clapped. Oh my God, you got pizza free, everything, count me in. Where do I sign? People are signing left and right. I'm telling you, like we all signed up. So now I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about really directing the play. I want this professionally directed, because now we're going to Broadway level. The word we kept using then was we want a Broadway production. Broadway production. I'm like, Broadway? I couldn't even spell the word Broadway, but we knew we wanted to aspire to that level. So I said, okay, what do I do? I need to find a professor on campus that can help us with this. So I started going to the theater arts department, and I started looking for a professor that could help us. I wrote proposals and I put it inside their offices, and nobody answered me. And then I started knocking on doors, and the response I got was very, very mean in some cases. That, look, are you a student of this department? Some of them would ask me, like, no, I'm not, but I think this is a play that could help the department. And like, you help the department? They'll ask me, who are you to help the department? Did the department tell you they needed any help? I'm like, no, I'm just saying it's a play. That, like, nah, not interested. So I got discouraged, and because I knew I'm going to have to do it without them, but I wanted so badly their participation. So I started leaving the letters. I started leaving the actual script under the doors, along with the letter. So I get a call on my answering machine. I get home one day and I play the answering machine. There's a guy called Dr. Schultz, he left me a message talking about, hey, I read the play, and I believe strongly in the play. Not only do I believe in this play, I'll be extremely honored if you will allow me to be part of it, to produce it. This was a professor in the theater arts department. So I ran straight to his office the next day. Him and I hit it off fantastically. He was so happy that he got that letter, and he said, I hope you don't invite anybody else, because I am going to be part of this project. He showed up on day one for rehearsals, and he was ecstatic. He showed up from day one to the very production of the play. He was there with us, helping us direct, helping us go through the whole process. Now, so guess this. I have African Americans, I have Africans, and I have white cast members, and I have professors, some of them that are Caucasian, all part of this project that was supposed to tell a story that was going to bring us all together. But what none of them knew was that this story had nothing to do with why we were all there. The story was powerful. It had to be powerful to bring them there. But I intentionally wanted us, being there was more important to me than the story. So what I'll do is, while we're eating the pizza, I'll have us have dialogues together. I'll have people that had scenes that were together in the play tell me something about each other. We made it. I made it something that had to do with understanding your co-stars and your counterparts in the play. And through that process, everybody began to gel. And I'm looking at all these people gelling. Nobody's arguing about why you don't like us, why we don't like you. They just gelling. They're just having a moment. And every time I sit back looking at this view, and it was always just amazing to watch all these people that always bicker all the damn time, always bickering about something, sitting down together just harmoniously, loving the experience. Now the food was helpful. Now pizza, the chemicals that play in your brain when you're eating is helped the situation, I must say. So maybe without the food, we wouldn't have seen this kind of chemistry. But the food helped. So we're all there, we're all having a good time, and we're doing the play, we're doing the rehearsals. Boom, 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 we're doing the rehearsals. And so the chemistry is developing and everything, and then the play day comes. I did not realize what everybody outside of the play had been doing. I just knew what I was doing. My mind was laser focused on making this an execution of Forever. The main character that was supposed to act as the main character in the play decides, so he falls sick and he couldn't make it. He had an accident, he fell sick, he couldn't make it. So the question was, who's going to take over his role? So I, that wrote the play, had to now take over the main character's role, because I was the only one that knew the story A to Z. And I wasn't going to wait for another cycle to get this done. So I became the main character on Joaquin, which in a way was a blessing, because you know when you're in a situation where you feel like you could do it better anyway, but you don't want to be everything because you're already the writer, you're this, you're that, you don't want to be everything. So when that happened, they're like, oh, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I'm like, so I'm also there like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I'm hoping somebody points to me and say, you can do it, you know, but nobody's doing that. I'm like, what if I do it? They're like, yeah, what if you do it? I said, yeah, I mean, what if I do it? So anyway, we agreed that I was gonna do it. And so I take off my shirt immediately, because the character is shirtless all the time. It's like, you know, if you think of anyway, any movie you've seen where there's all the strong men and powerful men. I had been preparing, they didn't realize it. So I took off my shirt, everybody's like, dang, you really look like the main character. I'm like, well, you know, it just happened, I don't know. Really, I've been lifting weights, just because I was into the whole project. Anyway, don't judge me. So we are all excited, and we go, and we're practicing and everything. Now, there's a poem that is supposed to be recited at the end of the play. That is a powerful poem, and there was this lady, African American lady on campus, and she's on the credits. That, you know, I always liked her presentation, but I never liked her message, because I thought she was part of the problem when it came to our discourse with the racism and all the isms you can imagine. Because her poetry was always very powerful. When I go to open mic nights on campus, then this lady would come out and she would recite a poem, and her poem would be so powerful. I am the black woman that you are afraid of. I am the one to. It was always so powerful, and she had this Afro thing. So you know, her presence was powerful. The problem though was that everybody was always shaking. Like what the hell? Like you're afraid of where she's gonna go next with the story. You know, I come from the womb, my pussy is this, I'm like, God, you don't know where she's going. So you have to clap, because you don't know if this woman would snap and kill everybody. So we did that, but I knew that I wanted her to be the one to recite the final poem. When everybody freezes in the end of the play, I wanted her to come out and do it. So I gave her the poem that I wanted her to read. I wrote it. You know, for ages past, for centuries gone, we've traveled the journey across the oceans. We've followed the moon and read the stars, but yet it seems we've ventured in vain. We've once lived in times of great kings and queens. We once lived in harmony with the voices of nature. Where has it all gone? I have arrived. Here I am in a land of strange faces, faces I was once well acquainted with. They look at me with loose attentions, they whisper to themselves and laugh aloud. To them, I'm a traitor. And blah, 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 blah. It goes on. So anyway, I give her the poem, and she says, nah, I don't like it. I said, why don't you like it? What's there not to like? She's like, nah, I think the poem doesn't talk about the devil. I said, the devil? I said, who's that? The white people. I think I don't think you captured the evil of the white people and what they've done to our people. I said, wow. I said, okay. I said, we didn't capture that enough, you're saying. She's like, no, we didn't capture that at all. I want there to be suffering. I want there to be recompense. I want them to know that what they've done is evil. And she just kept going on and on. I said, you know what? At this point, I'm really exhausted. I've been working on the play. I've been rehearsing. I have so many roles. I'm wearing so many hats. So I told her, you know what? How about you rewrite the poem? I'm counting on you to rewrite it, but I want you to understand something. This is not a play about what is different and the pain that we have suffered from each other. This is a poem about the opportunity that we have to escape our pain. this moment for all of us is not a moment to double down into the pain. It's a moment to escape the pain. And we are all instruments to enable that. So I want you to understand the purpose of this play is that the play put instruments all around us to identify what our faults are. Yes, we identify what the faults of the slave masters were, the faults of the Africans were, and the faults of the African American. And after identifying all those faults, we bring it all home as to why all of this needs to be. It's time for reconciliation. And so as long as you can write a poem that brings it all home, I'm good. Go ahead, do it. So I leave her to the task, and we continue to rehearse and produce the play. Now, on the day of the release of the play, I was expecting just a handful of people. It turned out that the auditorium was filled. It was full of people. We didn't have one open seat at the auditorium that sat about 2,000 to 2,500 or something like 3,000 or so. I don't remember the exact number, but there was no empty seats. It was packed brim to brim. So someone who runs to the backstage and say, "Dude, the auditorium has never been packed. We packed it. We packed there's no room." I'm like, we're doing this. This is really happening. I go outside. Somebody says somebody's asking for me. I say, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. I go outside to see who the person is. They're like, you gotta go. I go outside to see. It's my brother. My oldest brother, Jimmy Ajibola, flew all the way from Nigeria. I didn't tell him anything about this play. Apparently, so some of my friends had told him about the play and that the moment is bigger than me and they needed him to come support me. For them to have been that thoughtful was just magical for me. And for him to have been that thoughtful was beyond me. He came in there, I hugged him so tightly. At that point, I knew, I gotta put on a show. We gotta put on a show. And I was like, okay, I went back in there. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Where the oil people said they're oiling us down there. I was like, we had to put oil on and everything to shine for the production. So we are all greased up and everything. And we go out there and the play begins. And the music goes on and everything goes on. And before the play starts, the fraternities do a step dance. The African students come to dance. Now you see all these people lined up. This is just a play. This is not some organization or anything. This is a neutral ground for all of us, and we are overperforming. Some of the best performances I've ever seen in my life happened during this day. So that happens. We go out, we start the play. Everybody's screaming, and we do our first scene, and everybody's laughing, and we're here. You know, when you're acting, you're hearing it, you're feeling it. The moment is all yours to capture. And then I go to the backstage. Now, remember, every time I didn't say this, but every time I went to the backstage, what always frustrated me was that in the backstage, there's always laziness going on. People are talking, nobody's cohesive, everybody's just waiting for their own scene and not worried about how the whole thing is going to come together. That was my role. That was Dr. Schultz and my role. And that always frustrated me. But I go back to the backstage and I'm looking for my clothes and I see two ladies standing with my clothes ready to go. There was this African American beautiful lady that was had my clothes ready. I don't even remember if I ever talked to her throughout the whole process, but she had my clothes ready. There was this Caucasian lady next to her that had the beads and everything, and there was this African lady there that was talking about how I needed to make sure I held my sword and everything. And looking at these three groups, the Caucasian, the African American, the African, that moment I froze and I was like, this is what I lived for. This is what this moment is about. These people didn't know each other. They were walking together. They were cool. They were happy. And I put on my outfit. And I went out there and I did the play. And we were going around fighting, doing all the scenes. And it was just it was a beautiful moment. and we performed at our highest level. I really did. I mean, I think I might have been too oily, but it worked. Okay, it worked. So anyway, we get to the end of the play, and I'm like, okay, everybody freezes like we're expected to, and the poem is supposed to happen, and we're waiting on this lady with the afro, and I'm thinking, okay, this is where everything goes south, because she's gonna come out here and recite some poem about some hatred, and she's gonna be so mean to all these white folks that have come to watch this thing and all these black folks that we're gonna lose our audience right here. So I'm down there, and she goes and recites the poem, and guess what? She did not change a word in that poem. She read the whole thing from A to Z with just flavor. When I say flavor and power, this lady, ooh, she killed it. And I was there in my frozen position crying, because I was crying for her too. She was, this woman just you could see when she walked around campus even, she was filled with this weight on her shoulder, like she had to constantly remind everybody that she belonged to a race that was abused. She belonged to a race that had been deprived. But for this one moment, she did not speak as a descendant of a slave or a descendant of a people that had been oppressed. She spoke as a free woman, as a woman that had owned her own destiny and wanted more for herself, not because of what they owed her, because they owed her a lot. America owed her a lot. The United States owes its blacks a lot. But she spoke as a woman that had transcended all of those things and was now reaching for the sky, because it wasn't theirs to give her. You know, the sky is not theirs to give her. It is hers to take. And I cried because of that. I cried because that woman, her being free at that moment, freed me and made me feel like we'd done something here. We'd done something here. And the play ended, and the applause we got was unbelievable. I did not realize this. Let me tell you the irony of life. When we were casting Dr. Schultz, the professor, to help manage the play, we thought we just needed him to help us direct, and I thought I needed him because I wanted that kind of diversity within the project, and I also wanted a faculty member supporting us. I actually wanted to get a black faculty member, but he declined. Black, what do you call it? Theater arts professor, but he declined. I didn't even think they had one. Sorry, there was one guy I found. I don't even think it was a professor, but he declined. But what Dr. Schultz, what this professor did, that amused me even beyond reason, and this is why I know that our destiny is not always tied to to the stereotypes we have of each other. It's God's little trick, I believe, where He puts your treasures in the place where you will least expect to search it from. It's there, and He says, because you think you know more than me, I'm going to hide it where you said to me you will never go. And let's see if you find it. Because you said to me, I'm never going to deal with those people. I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to do that. Well, I'm putting your treasures right in their care. Let me see what you do now. You have two choices. You either forgive and go get your treasures, or you hate and live without your treasures. One of the two. That act that we're done with the professor led to something. Now we began to understand why the auditorium was packed brim to brim. Now remember, we had churches coming to this event. We had other people from the community coming because we had promoted this event heavily. But guess who did not miss this event? Not one theater arts student missed this event. This man invited the whole faculty of students. And not only did he invite the faculty of students in the theater arts department, which means all of the students in that department came, they actually gave them the opportunity to earn extra credits by writing about the play. Reviews. I mean, you can't script this stuff. So they wrote the reviews and it was beautiful. I sat down for days reading these reviews when it was just exciting. Like, oh, Omar King, the character was unbelievable. It was powerful. And that was me they were talking about. Oh, powerful. I mean, really, I had to have my moment. Give me that. So we did this and it was just immensely beautiful. I got out, I'm signing autographs. I remember thinking that day, what am I going to do with this moment? What is this moment going to mean to my life in the future? What is it going to echo in eternity? What is it going to say about me? And it dawned on me even that day that this moment is not for you. It's for these people. It's for all of us. You're not great because of this moment. This moment is great because of all of these people. So my head quickly recalibrated itself to realize this was not whatever. But one thing that moment did for me was it solidified in me that diversity is one of the strongest places in the world. They strengthen diversity. The tie that binds us together is much, 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 much beautiful and much more meaningful than that divides us. There's no meaning in our division. There's just not. There's no winning and there's no meaning. Because in our division, we find chaos, we find confusion, we find missed opportunities. But in our unity, we find strength, we find understanding, we find a future that we both carve out together, right? And that's what creates belonging. When people are part of carving out the future, when you involve all these people, we involved all these people in the play, and they all played a role in the building and the delivery of this project. It meant that they were all empowered. It meant that they all felt personal, involved, engaged. And moreover, what happened from this play is that I graduated as an electrical engineer from Texas A&M. I can truly tell you now that the only friends I remember that I hang out with, that I speak to, that I have on my social media are friends that came from that play. Probably none from my electrical engineering program. Actually, some of the actors in the play were from my electrical engineering program. I actually got some engineers also to join me in the play. But other than those guys, I don't have any connection with anybody else within my program. What does that tell you? I went through years in the program, years. And I did a play. And all the people I remember from a university are from a play. That I still hang out with, are from a play. So it shows you that we as a people are not necessarily where we come from. We are where we are going. And where you're going is much more beautiful and powerful than where you come from. Right? So I'm not saying deny your heritage. Your heritage is part of who you are, not where you come from, by the way. That's who you are and where you come from are two different things. Who you are is part of your heritage. It always goes with you everywhere you go. Right? But the fact that you came from something does not limit you from something, from being or going where you want to go. Because you're white doesn't mean you don't have to be an activist for black people. because you're black doesn't mean you don't have to be an activist for white people. Because you are a certain disposition does not limit you to speak for those that are underprivileged. And the opportunities that are out there should never be seen as opportunities for just you and your race. It should be seen as you being sent to this world for a purpose greater than your race. It has to be greater than your race. Otherwise, you're not great. In my opinion, greatness is when you rise above the occasion. If the occasion only called you to be a member of your race or to fight for your race, then the occasion hasn't called you for much. But if it calls you to rise above it and to rise above the occasion and do more than you ever thought you could do, then I think your greatness is in that story. I am Modupe Ajibola. This is my Black History Month. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to tell you my story.
Thanks for watching.